Delroy Cruz here, your Life Applications Officer. Let me fix this a little bit more. Hope that stays. Getting back to the topic of stray dogs. You're probably wondering where I come up with these titles for my videos. They're slogans of feelings. The way you feel at any moment of time. I'm not saying that anyone is this or that entirely, but these are feelings that we have at any given moment of time. When we let me turn this off. This might be loud. I don't need it. The air's not blowing on me anyway. When we are in a certain situation, to get to it, so I don't make this video super long and have to do a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Okay, look. As far as black folks, white folks don't realize that we spend our days, like even me being a Republican, me being a black man that has escaped the ghetto, that has escaped the mindset that comes out of the ghetto, the mindset of that creates hatred towards white people, the fear of cops. Even right now as I speak, I work with cops, okay? I live in a neighborhood where I wouldn't be surprised if cops were racist, because the only people that's going to cause any trouble up here is black folks. But these cops up here are very, very, very nice. And maybe the first time they came into my door, they just wanted to know who lives here. They just wanted to see if I was black or white. I don't know. But I do know that one of the things that makes us all feel like stray dogs is that we don't understand that it's not about us, but it's about truth. It's not about our feelings, but it's about truth. I have another video very soon. I got my notes written down that I want to do shortly after this, either tonight or tomorrow or sometime this week. But feeling like a stray dog is basically simply whenever you go around a classification of people and you're there because you have a right to be there, not because anybody really wants you there. You're there because stray dogs every now and then run through there, or they're free to run through there because it's a public street. Nobody's going to bother the stray dog unless that stray dog decides to attack someone. And we as black people, and you know, I'll say again, a disclaimer here, that everybody that's been watching my channel knows I'm very hard on black people, and I feel I have a right to be because I'm black. And I feel that black people embarrass me. I feel that black people are a lot smarter than what they claim to be or what they show themselves to be. I think that they rob America. I think that they They play baby when they're not really babies. They want to act like children when they're not children. It's an act. And that's the main thing I want to say in this video. Going back to me talking about, Asian women and their attitudes towards black men. Black men have to go around and act like they only like black women. Let me tell you something. Thank God for white people, because white men are very honest about this. White men will be honest and tell you that they like all women of all races, depending on what they look like and how they carry themselves and how they dress and etc., etc. That's very, very honest. I ain't never heard a white man tell me like I only like white women. He might tell me that he only will date white women or that he only marries white women. Okay? But he'll never tell me that he only finds white women attractive. And he's not just saying that, okay, to keep a racial blow up from going. He's saying that because that's the way he really is. He's being honest. Okay? And this is not a dating video or nothing like that. I'm just throwing that out there. But and just like black men will try to act like they are only attracted to black women, but yet when they think that you are only attracted to black women, okay, a lot of black men, they'll come whispering to you about the Asian girl 2 seats up. Like one guy did a few weeks ago. I was about ready to punch him because he started saying some sexual innuendo stuff about the Asian girl that I like. And I had to let him know. I know that girl. That's my neighbor. I know who she is. Okay. He's like, oh. Okay. Yeah, dude. Like, I know who she is. I know everything about her. Okay. But he's like, oh, she reminds me of getting my back rubbed at the, you know how you go to little Chinese salons, and everybody, all these black folks, including myself when I first met her, thought that she was Chinese or, And first of all, this knucklehead, he said Asian. Well, it's Chinese people that do back rubs. It's not Japanese. It's not, Koreans, okay? It's Chinese people. Chinese people do a number of things in this country, and number 2 of them would be these massage parlors and these pedicures and manicures and stuff like that. But he was wrong, and then I had to explain to him, she's not really Asian. She looks Asian, doesn't she? She's actually Spanish. A lot of Spanish people look Asian. And did she tell me that? No. But I know enough. I deal with enough immigrants in this country, and if you say that I shouldn't call anyone an immigrant that's a legal immigrant, they're just simply American, I accept that. I apologize. But this is an Asian, Spanish, American. She's not Asian. She's actually of Spanish descent. She's from Guatemala or one of them. Okay, she looks Asian. But her accent and she never speaks. She's very, very, everyone's talking to her. She never talks. She's just very, very quiet. I love it. I love that kind of personality. I love these women that are quiet and humble and just, I love non-aggressive, non-acting out, non-loud women. Okay. And she's one of them, but she's not Asian. She's of Spanish descent. Matter of fact, there's not that many Asians up here. They're up here, but there's not that many of them. They might be the smallest number of people up here. Most of the people up here, I found out. Now, wait a minute. Now, if you're saying that Napoleon is somewhat of a I don't know if Nepal belongs to Asia or if it belongs to Spanish descent. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up just so I don't say the wrong thing. But I know there's a lot of Nepalians up here. They were living with me down the street, and then we started making that money. And as soon as I moved up here, some of them moved up here too. So I know them. So one of my friends at work was correcting me. I have some Nepalian friends at my job. They were correcting me about that because I asked them. I says, the people that I thought were Asian in Spanish, you know, you seem to speak their language, you know. And he went to explaining some things to me about, Nepal is part of India, I think. Correct me. Where's my tablet's over there? I'd look it up. Okay, here, I will. All right. I'm going to squash just real fast. I don't know. I remember him telling me, I hate to cut this off because, all right, let me see here. All right. Where is Nepal? Okay. I don't know. I was right. It's part of Asia. Okay. Oh, there's India in there too. Nepal, country of Asia, lying along the southern slopes of the Himalayan mountain ranges. It is a landlocked country located between India to the east. See, when my friends at work talk about Nepal, when I ask them about Nepal and how they speak, you know, some of them speak 3 different languages. One is more of an Asian language, and the other is like India. They know more than one language, or they know one is their first language, the other one they know the dialogue. Okay. Oh, and it's part China. So, cut to Spanish. There are a lot of Nepalians up here. I know there's a lot of Indians up here. Okay. But sometimes, you know, now these Nepalians that I've met, they relate themselves to India. They don't really relate themselves to like China or even being on the continent of Asia. But I think the Middle Eastern countries are on the continent of Asia. If you want me to look that up, I will too. But last I checked, what is it, Saudi Arabia, countries like that, I think they're on the continent of Asia, and India is on the continent of Asia. Okay. Yeah, I'm done. That's enough of that. Anyway, let me get back to it. But the point is, this sweet little thing up here, I thought she was Asian. I was wrong. I said that she was more of Spanish descent because of her accent. And I know we have some Spanish people up here too. But I think she might be Nepalian. No. Because I know Spanish language. I know a little bit of Spanish. Okay. No, her accent. No, that's Spanish. She is Spanish. But there's just as many Nepalians and people from India up here as there are Spanish. And then it's white, and then it's black, and then it's, you know, then you're getting into more Asians, and you know, then as the numbers go down, okay, or numbers go up, you're getting into the smaller numbers. I sound like Joe Biden. Anyway, my point is that we have this this idea that we are better than one another, or we have this idea that we have to act a certain way because we don't feel like we're better than the other person, or we're jealous of the other person, the other race, the other groups. Okay. I guess y'all heard, I'm jumping around now. I guess y'all heard about Reverend Ravi Zacharias, Reverend Ravi Zacharias, the sex scandal. I'm throwing that in there because black people and Christians have that in common, where black men like me have to suffer because of the black people that fail. Indian people of Indian descent, like Dr. Ravi Zacharias, he gets double the scrutiny for the way he died, leaving his legacy to be involved in a sexual scandal that turned out to be true. Now, when they first reported it, we thought that he's got so many haters, or so all these atheists. And there was one early on, before I even got involved with Dr. Zacharias or started to follow him, that there were atheists out there that did lie and say that he was doing things that he wasn't doing. Okay. But when he died, he did have a history. Not the history of these other atheists we're talking about, but the history that his own people did not decide to sweep up under the rug. And a lot of people don't understand that we Christians don't have any reason to lie. We don't have a reason to hide. We know that Christians are capable of doing crazy things. That doesn't mean that Jesus didn't die on the cross for our sins. That does not mean that he wasn't God in a human body. That doesn't mean that Jesus wasn't sinless because you failed to be sinless. Just like I was looking at another video today about this brother who was plays pro football. I don't know which team in the NBA or NFL, I'm sorry. But he's a pro football player, and he was talking about how he found Jesus. But then he went off he got all Semitic with it, okay? And started talking about, white Jesus, black Jesus. And look, this is what I'm talking about in this video right there. Here's a good man that's on fire for God, but he's stuck in that rut to where he doesn't want to give white people the credit for bringing Christianity to the United States. And if you read your Bible, the Israelites never let people into their borders, if they had borders, when they had borders. They never let people into their borders and just gave them asylum overnight like that. Like we do here in America today. They never just let these people come in. But these people were what? Slaves. Until they were considered to be citizens. You had to start off as a slave before you could be a citizen. You had to serve the heir before you could be a friend of the heir. Okay? And we get so caught up in our races. We get so caught up in whether we're black, white. We don't believe in seniority when it comes to race. Well, actually, you don't have to believe in it. It's there. It's going to be there. White people are going to act like what they are. They're the people that supervise. You know, you say, oh, well, you know, black people did this for this nation and the Spanish did this, and, you know, under what supervision, though? Did they bring their knowledges from Africa or from some Middle Eastern country? Did they bring their knowledges from their pagan gods or whatever and build these bridges, build these whatever? Under what supervision did any immigrant in this country build anything? Under the supervision of white folks. Because if you didn't know how to do it in Africa, how the hell did you start doing it when you got over here? If the Native Americans was just sitting here, okay, killing and eating and wasn't building nothing, how all of a sudden you start building when white folks showed up? We never ask ourselves these questions. If white folks going over to the Spanish nations, especially Mexico, and building and doing things for them and helping them have clean water and all this stuff, how the heck did you just come over here and build bridges when you wasn't building them back home? Now, I could be wrong. As far as Spanish people, that could be their stock and trade. But I don't think anybody, I know I wouldn't just let somebody, because they say they got the talent, come over here. How do I find out that you got the talent to do anything? How does a bridge, how is building a bridge a Spanish thing? They was building bridges long before America. So, are we going to give the bridges to the Spanish people and say, oh, that's their stock and trade? They built this nation because they built the bridges? But nobody took 50 states and did all this. Nobody but white folks. And you can go to where all the Native Americans are hiding and see who's building what. Go to Mexico. Go to Africa. Go around the world. You know how I know? Because I talk to a lot of military people who have been around the world. Black militants as well as whites. And they say the same thing. You go over there, the military is going and building shelters. The military is going over there doing things, and then sometimes they're there to protect the white folks that are over there doing things for these countries. Even in Africa, a system of medicine and health ain't African. It's white and Asian. Africans ain't doing that over there, even in their own country. They're learning how to do it under what supervision? White folks is teaching them. Okay, like I said in the last video, it's white folks that are going around the world dodging bullets to help your brown skin behind. And we owe them the seniority for that. Now that we got that out of the way, the stray dog issue is when we do give them the seniority. We give them that respect. And they treat us like stray dogs. My problem with stray dogs is that a white man will take a stray dog home. An animal fell out of the sky. A bird, a big one, fell out of the sky the other day. Knocked himself unconscious. It's the funny thing ever. Went into a glass, knocked himself unconscious. He went into something. I think it was a morning glass. He come down and he was laying there on his stomach like he was having an asthma attack. And all these white people showed up. And they asked me to call 911 for the bird that was laying on his stomach. The police came. I guess they contacted the game commission. They got him on the phone. The police and the game commission showed up at the site and took care of the situation. But these white folks was like, oh, I want to take them home, and oh, I want to, and they're like that with animals. Like I'm thinking, how do you know the thing ain't got rabies? Like, how do you know the thing ain't sick with a horrible disease? Like, how do you know? You didn't even see the bird fall. How do you know what he got? When I used to have birds for pets. If they got sick and they wasn't moving around properly, I wasn't allowed to touch them. I had to cover the cage up so that nothing is airborne, okay? Cover it up real good and take it to the vet so they could see what was going on. I wasn't allowed to go in there and try to find some way to revive my bird, okay? Cover it up with a blanket so that nothing is airborne. That's the procedure. And then take it to the vet, okay? But they said, don't touch them. But white folks love their animals so much. It only takes 2 seconds for a stray dog to become a pet. But let's get real. It's not like that for black folks when we go around feeling like stray dogs. When we walk into a neighborhood where ain't nobody there but us. And people are looking at us and they wondering, what are you doing here? And everywhere we go, if the place got money, if people are laughing and having a good time and enjoying themselves and there's peace and no violence, you know what I'm saying? And as much as I love being a Republican, you go to these Republican places where they're used. And this is where a lot of blacks, and I sympathize with them, this is where a lot of blacks don't like the Republican Party. Because there's more white Democrats in the areas where they have to deal with black people every day. They live close to the city. But if you go further out, way out into the country, way out into the suburbs, way back in there, you find out that people are more conservative. Okay, and it's true. And so in that light, and I'm really saying some things in this video that you never expect me to say. I understand and I sympathize with you there. But that does not mean that the party switched. That does not mean that the Republican Party is the party of hatred and fascism and racism, because the Republican, I meant Republican if I didn't. That doesn't mean that the Republican Party is the party of evil and racism, because the Republican Party has money It has entrepreneurship, and it has people with power and money in it, and people that are able to escape. And the whole thing about, these people that are able to escape the city, that is, and the whole thing about, protecting our rights and our guns, somehow they've made that Republican. And that's a trick. That's a trick in the book of the beast system. I hate to bring that up, but that's a trick in the book. Everybody, and a Democrat will be the first person to shoot you. You walk in that door uninvited, okay? Or you walk on the property, for that matter, uninvited, okay? A white Democrat as well as a black Democrat, okay? But this whole thing about, canceling our guns is all about a trickery. It's trickery. There's nobody in this world that feels it's wrong to be able to protect themselves. However, I do sympathize and I agree with you that the less guns that are available, the less criminals are able to get their hands on them. But again, I agree with the Republicans. Take the guns off the criminals first, if you can, if you will. Because in any terrorist attack, they got the bombs, they got the guns. Where'd they get them from in these countries that are gun-free? They come in there shooting. Where'd they get the guns from? Okay? But anyway, in closing, it's easy to feel like a stray dog. You feel like a stray dog when you feel like an immigrant in your own country. You feel like a stray dog in your own country because everywhere you go, people look at you like, oh God, here we go. Somebody let the dogs out. Okay? And I sympathize with black people on that. But that doesn't give us a right to act like white people didn't put these 50 states together. I was listening to Jesse Lee Peterson today, and he had Reverend Dr. Gino Jennings on there, and I was really turned on by Gino because usually Gino, man, is so hardcore when it comes to preaching that all he sees is he don't, but I can tell he's matured over the last few years. And he's starting to really bring reality of his faith to home plate. He ain't all loud and crazy like he used to be, okay? He's starting to leave what can't be proven as this cannot be proven, so I'm not going to act crazy about it, okay? But he did say that white people didn't find this nation. And the first words out of my mouth was, neither did black people. And then he started talking about the Native Americans, and I couldn't believe it, but Jesse Lee asked, he said the same thing that I'm always asking. I always ask, what was the Native Americans going to do with 50 states?